You'll see four of us, I think, probably faces on the side of the screen. Now I'm going to kick off. My name is Katie Jenkins, and I work for a company called CAM Insight. We're a research-based consultancy working predominantly or virtually totally in the hospitality industry. We work with operators across different sectors and food and drink brands, hospitality suppliers as well. And today, we're obviously here to launch the new State of Social Research. We launched face to face to all the contributors at a lovely event on Tuesday, and this is getting out there to a wider audience. I'll be running through some of the sort of top line findings, co-presenting with Chloe from Kitch.
Hi, so yeah, I'm Chloe, marketing manager at Kitch. We're a social media agency, and yeah, we saw a need to create a state of social. Clients ask us, what does good look like and how do they compare? So this gives us real data from real operators in the sector. Hopefully, it provides everyone with a benchmark guide and an opportunity to take it away and review where the opportunities are for the brand.
Perfect, thank you, Chloe. Next slide, there we go. Next slide. Just quickly what we're running through today. As I said, myself and Chloe are going to run through some of the learnings from the research, from the report, the public report, the summary report will be available straight after this. We'll send it out to you. And then you'll see two other faces lingering in the background there. Glenda Barber, host and community leads of team marketing, and Katie Richardson, sales and marketing lead at Nell's Pizza, are going to be joining us after we've sort of gone through the results for a chat, a sort of panel discussion as well. And there'll be opportunities for Q&A afterwards as well. So let's get started. In November 25 last year, a number of you on this call I know were part of the research for this. 68 brands, different hospitality brands across different sectors, very different sizes, as well, took part in the report. It is open to all. The more people that take part and enter their data, fill in the survey, the better and more robust the info is. So please, the plan is to redo it again this time next year. We're in our second year now. So those brands, lovely mix across different sectors, some really big brands, some new emerging brands, some huge estates, some single one, two, three sort of venue estates as well. And they represent just under 2,000 across the UK. We asked 43, it is a long survey to fill in, but worth it, I promise. 43 different social metrics across three main platforms we focus on, and we'll dip into that today. And there's about 35 other questions, all about trying to understand how people are running their social, their strategies, what sort of content they're using, just generally understanding what others are doing, so that you and your business can benchmark, learn from against it. What could you be doing? What should you be doing? Is the general gist there. So very quickly, those who took part in the report get some detailed benchmarking data. We can look at the information by estate size. We can look at the information by subsector as well. The sample is obviously slightly different year on year, but it's close enough that we can make some comparisons as to how things are changing as well. Obviously, the bigger sample, more people take part, the more that will be robust over time. So we've got a good spread, as you can say, from nightclubs, restaurants, pubs, competitive socializing, etc., etc. Before I start, very quickly, I don't have to tell you all this. You're all generally social people, I'm guessing. But social is absolutely critical now within the marketing mix. Bloody obvious, I know. 79% of UK adults are active social media users now. About a quarter of UK adults, 1 in 4, now say they follow a pub, bar, or restaurant on social. So very much interested in our industry, if you like. Obviously, that is a lot higher for for younger youths out there who are using social slightly more, although that's flattening out as well now. On average, and people were surprised about this on Tuesday, 1 hour 48 minutes on social media per day. Obviously, some people a hell of a lot more than that, and some people less. But this is an amazing amount of time, a huge window, obviously, for brands to influence decision making. 18% of people now turning to social media when they're researching venues. So this always used to be when, people found out about venues through word of mouth. They then found out about venues through sort of Google, through online reviews. Social for sure is rising fast as a discover, as a way to discover, and also to sort of trigger what's the word? Impulsive visits as well. So 13% of people say that they have seen a social post from friends and family out somewhere and it has motivated them to visit that venue as well. So really important in driving foot, not just in sort of brand awareness, etc., and building that real emotional connection with your customers, but also obviously the critical bit is driving footfall into your venues as well. So what did we learn then from State of Social 2026? Here's some of the top line findings. Chloe's going to kick off with this one.
Yeah, so Instagram continues to be the hero platform, which doesn't surprise me. 100% of contributing brands are still active for the second year. Facebook down to 85% from 97%, likely due to paid strategy coming through, which we'll touch on. TikTok down 10% this year. We think people have dipped their toe in it, didn't have the resource or the strategy to see the results. But those now using it are more likely to have a dedicated platform strategy. LinkedIn, huge growth, up from 21% to 51%. Brands are seeing opportunity to grow company culture and visibility here. X down again, no surprise really. I mean, does it deliver anything for your brands? Personally, I think it needs to go. We all say that internally as well.
Thank you. So that's where we are, I guess, as social. We're moving slightly, we're consolidating as a sort of industry with regards to which platforms that we're now active on. We'll dip into each of those into more detail a little later on as well. Biggest challenge came up last year as number one, comes up this year as number one as well. And again, when we mentioned this in the audience on Tuesday, there were sort of nods and the odd sort of tear in the corner of people's eye when we talked about limited time, stretched teams, small teams, lack of dedicated resource, etc. Is certainly a massive issue, challenge. Not just in social teams, obviously, but for social teams specifically, according to this research. So they're definitely overstretched. They're definitely small. It doesn't seem to make a huge amount of difference what size of a state. There's no real clear, no one's nailing it, so to speak. But that's the times we're in. Average sort of team size is 1.3, and that's not necessarily a dedicated social team. That's a number of people who are involved in managing the social media for a brand. That's remained relatively stable. There's no big change there. About 87% of people, therefore, are outsourcing something. Probably doesn't come as a huge surprise. They're most likely to outsource things like professional videography, photography, to often using freelancers for things like that. With regards to sort of agency use, and the more detail on this is in the report as well. People are most likely to use agencies for paid activity, influencers, etc. as well. So most people are outsourcing something with a few people, generally smaller or the much bigger brands doing virtually everything in-house through necessity or because they've got the resources to do that. With regards to what does that look like going forward, only 21% of people, despite feeling limited time, small teams, lack of dedicated resource, say that they're intending to increase their team in the year ahead. So we think the year ahead is all going to be about working a lot smarter. How can we get more from what we've got? The current climate isn't going to change a huge amount in the year ahead for many people. It's going to be about working smarter. What do you think the implications of this for the brands, Chloe?
I mean, it's an ongoing issue. It keeps cropping up. I know Natalie mentioned at the contributor event where even when Kitch started 14 years ago, it was still an issue. So the times aren't changing. I think brands see the importance of social, but still don't want to grow internal teams. So I would use this insight, go to your wider team or board, fight for budget. They want results, but they need team expansion to achieve the objectives. It's just not sustainable, really. So, yeah.
Okay. And as I said, all of these slides, there is more info in the slide in the report. So this is a bit of a whistle stop, so to speak. The other big thing, and this came out as a big discussion point on the panel last on Tuesday, not last week, when we're looking at where brands are actively engaging in community management in particular, and especially obviously this is hard with stretched teams. We get that, but there are massive missed opportunities out there. So weekday engagement sits high, pretty much 78% to 90% across. Again, this is an average across the three platforms that we specifically tracked, but coverage really drops sharply when it matters most. And this is pretty consistent across even large to small estates. There's not a massive difference. Nightclubs, QSR provide probably the strongest weekend and evening cover at the moment, which is probably most closely aligned to their audiences or when their audiences are most active. How big of an issue is this, do you think, Chloe?
This is a real issue for hospitality brands for sure. It's really clear that customers are in venue when the team are off, so key opportunities are missed online. What you had just said, Katie, sat on the panel with Ruth, who is sales and marketing director at Blacklock. She told the room how by working out the average spend per head, they'd lost 11K a month per site just from DMs and 28K in calls just by not getting back to people at those key times. That was like such a mic drop moment. So yeah, so comments are content, content's discoverable. Make sure you're spending time on managing your community and building a rapport with them.
Thank you. Yeah, indeed. There were some gasps in the room when Ruth
Yeah.
revealed that. She was like, "That's a new, that's a new resource for my team, essentially." So recording obviously key. We do capture some information around budgets. It is hard to capture. Some people don't want to share it. Some people do. Everyone wants to know about it, but don't want to necessarily share their own information. But we have enough people that did. So there's a really strong. This is our best kind of indication of what people are spending. We've got annual budget and then paid budget as well within the report. And this just gives you an indication, if you like, of what that's going at. The contributors will be able to look at that by sector. You'll be able to look at that by sector and estate size as well to see what's most relevant to your brand, I guess, as well. So majority of budget, you can see on the right-hand side there, we also ask how that budget is spread. And the majority of the budget is going huge amount actually on paid, if people are doing it, and then content creation as well. Any thoughts on how budget's being distributed?
Yeah, paid is bigger than I expected, but it's not surprising, especially with how Facebook is moving into a paid platform. I would have thought content creation would be slightly higher, especially with the growth of UGC. It's quite sorry, sad seeing social strategy at 13%. I think there should definitely be more. But yeah, I think just look at managing it with purpose and a goal in mind. Again, using this report to your advantage to, yeah, drive the importance of it.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Chloe. Just sticking with paid there, then let's drill into paid a little bit more. As I said, we've got this sort of average budget spend in the report as well. And this looks at a percentage of people who have a paid ads strategy in each of for those who are using the platforms. And as you can see, Meta continues to really dominate. Instagram, Facebook's paid strategy usage has risen as well year on year. LinkedIn has dipped slightly, but that's to be expected. There's so many new users from hospitality brands who are using it, who have created pages, if you like, in the last year. So they're not necessarily using paid on that at the moment. But the majority of budget you can see there is on Meta. Google high as well. So left-hand side is percentage who who have a paid ad strategy. Right-hand side is for those who do. What percentage of their overall paid spend is on that particular platform? So Google pretty high. Is this what you'd recommend? Is this what brands the kind of mix you'd expect, Chloe?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially like I said be before, like Meta coming in higher than last year because Facebook is growing more and more as paid. I think generally people need to consider where their core audience is for the brand. So testing, learning what drives footfall back to the business. TikTok, I think, would need to grow. Like Spark ads are a brilliant, like easy way to push those ads. Start with small budgets, a mix of creative. It is all about testing. LinkedIn doesn't surprise me much because I know they can be expensive, but I think overall just measure everything. If it's not performing, find out why, adjust your plan. Just because you've always done like meta ads doesn't mean they're working, and other platforms might be better for you.
And moving into that, then this again another discussion point on the panel not last week. What do I keep saying that on Tuesday? Um, the report really coldly shows that a hell of a lot of brands are not currently tracking what their paid activity is delivering, I guess. So 56% of brands say that they can track bookings or conversions directly from paid ads, meaning that almost half can't confidently link their activity to commercial outcomes, which is not ideal, I guess. A few people, so of them, 19% say they're planning to start. So there is people know they should be, but aren't necessarily doing it yet. 17% say they can't track paid performance at all. And then the story's the same for audience strategy, I guess. 41% are still running campaigns without leveraging their own customer insight there. Chloe, alarm bells ringing here, or they certainly did on Tuesday.
Yeah, for sure. A real issue. We see it crop up a lot. People must track to link social to their commercial results. If you can't prove results, then that budget will be limited. So yeah, I think just look at closing the gap. For teams, like they need to increase their knowledge around this. You can install the Meta and TikTok Pixel to track custom conversions. This is free as well. And then you can look at activity on your website. So even if you're not spending, like set it up to build future audiences. Think about remarketing, and building those audiences into other segments. I think it's crazy that people aren't really utilizing their customer data to the best of their ability because there's lookalikes you can create. There's just so much that can be done, to be honest. And Meta do Blueprint online, which is a free resource for training, so you can get the whole team involved.
Cool. Yeah, it's got to all be about working smarter, I guess, and you can't do that as well if you don't know what's delivering for you. Um, when you delve into the report later on, hopefully over a cuppa, you'll see that we also look into who's following hospitality. So we're one in four UK adults are. I won't go into this in too much detail now, but essentially we look at on the left hand side their gender split for each of the three platforms: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. So for hospitality brands, i.e. the contributors to this report, 62% of their Instagram followers are female. What we've added in there is a comparison to the UK average by platform. So on Insta, overall, it's 55 female. For hospitality brands specifically, it's 62. So you can see that we obviously over-index, no massive surprise on female followers. Our CAM research shows that they are more likely to be the ones that make the decisions on whether we go out to eat in the first place, eat, drink in the first place, where we go to eat, in many cases what we actually eat and drink in there as well. Not totally, obviously, but it doesn't surprise me that we are sort of more female, over-indexing on female there. With regards to the age breakdown, again, I said I wouldn't go into this in too much detail. The bottom is the average platform. So these are sort of the ages the platform is attracting with regards to who has accounts, etc. The top there is what hospitality brands are attracting. So some of them, TikTok, not too different. Some of the big differences there, we're really failing to sort of attract younger audiences on our Instagram and Facebook platforms. Is that an issue, Chloe, or what's your thoughts on that, the sort of differences in the ages?
This was actually similar to last year. So I find it so interesting how the UK average is 32% for those under 24-year-olds, but we're still only reaching 8% for hospitality brands. Again, it comes down to the content that's being shared isn't engaging enough. It's not reaching them for whatever reasons. Many brands use the same content from Instagram to TikTok. Doesn't always work. It needs to be like platform first. So I think overall, dig into your audience data, see who they are, slowly shift that content to appeal to them. Um, yeah.
Okay, thank you. We're going to do a brief dig into each of the platforms now, just to whip through again all the info's in there, or a lot of the info's in that report there. We've said it already, or Chloe started at the beginning. Instagram really continues to be the hero platform for hospitality. 100% of brands we spoke to are actively using it. Same as last year, that hasn't changed. Audiences, sort of average audience per brand, if you like, overall is growing. We're about, on average, we clocked in at about 30,000. Engagement rate is holding steady at about 0.2 as an industry sort of average. On average, you're posting just under 4 post reels per week. Again, that changes by size of estate, that changes by sector as well. Content format obviously plays a major role in results there. Reels are driving the strongest engagement rate for us. Posts have a broader reach, and as I said, across subsectors that changes slightly. Competitive socializing brands and nightclubs in particular are seeing a particularly high value per reel. Smaller estates are leaning much more towards posts due to limited resource. One assumes there. The other thing on the right hand side there worth mentioning, which I think Chloe will as well, is just the broadcast channels as well, with relatively low numbers using them currently, and relatively low numbers, I'd say, planning on increasing them, given the fact that so many people want to improve their community going forward. Any thoughts on that, Chloe?
Yeah, I think brands just need to look at delving into their data on a regular basis. So look at what's performing, what's not. Carousels and stories could outperform reels, but again, don't compare what works for one brand might not work for you. Test music, test text overlay. Do more of what works by again reporting monthly and diving into your insights. What Katie had said, broadcast channels are a huge opportunity to build community and interact with your customers directly. So Prezzo have dipped their toe in it. They're posting consistently. They might need to adapt their strategy as their following grows and ensure they're keeping up that engagement. Dishoom have a great community, super engaging content. So yeah, there's definitely scope for brands to be on broadcast channels.
Fab, thank you. So obviously, as I said, a very quick summary. TikTok, again, Chloe mentioned TikTok adoption, as in the number of hospitality brands that are actively using it, has dipped this year. We think there was a big growth, and people have realised that they're either overstretching themselves or not seeing results, whether that's due to focus, resource, understanding. The brands that are doing it are much more likely to have dedicated strategies this year, and are seeing strong results. So those that are doing it properly, are doing it well. Those that haven't had the resource perhaps or focus have decided to put a pause on it, is what we're reading from the results. Engagement rate stable, about 2.3, which is slightly below industry average. And while follower numbers are still sort of modest, reach continues to be pretty high, impressively high, I'd say, at an average level. Chloe, still lots of opportunity for brands with TikTok?
Absolutely. The ones doing it well include personality, originality, consistency, similar content themes. Customers know why to follow them. So be more playful, fun. The tone of voice is different on TikTok. And also, again, like consistency is key. You don't need to post 5 times a day, but like 4 times a week, 3 times a week, as long as it's consistent, like you're on the right path. Vapianos are doing TikTok really well, focus on food, subtle trends. They're not overpowering, well placed, and they include people and employees. Youngs also do this well, getting the team, the employees to deliver in the pub content, creating in the moment trends. Following might be slower than other channels, but again, opportunity is discovery. Like TikTok, social SEO are like, it's coming up trumps in terms of being a search platform. So make sure your keywords are in there. I mean, I have definitely fallen a bit victim to TikTok's addictive nature. I use it all the time to search stuff. Like that is where I go. So just bear this in mind, really.
Thank you. Facebook briefly continues its shift into a paid-only channel for hospitality. Adoption has dropped, as we said, from 97% last year to 85%. So that is going down. More than half of hospitality brands say they now automate content from Instagram. As I said, paid activity dominates performance. Engagement has increased very slightly, zero point 0.1 to 0.5, but almost entirely fueled by paid activity. Subsector-wise, pubs and bars remain the most committed to this to this platform, and really and many still treat Facebook as a core channel for their audiences, whereas restaurants tend to be prioritizing or other channels perhaps. Nightclubs continue to see strong results from targeted paid events, promotion, etc. Chloe, future for Facebook?
It's still a really worthwhile channel. Personally, it can deliver more engagement organically than other channels, depending on your audience. So this was the case for Harry Ramsden's. It was their top performing channel, which we didn't see often at Kitch with clients, and that's because they have like an older, loyal customer base. We are seeing this shift more evenly with strategic changes, but yeah, it's still a core channel for them. Brands impacted by HFSS, they will need to adapt to having a strong organic presence here.
Cool, thank you. And LinkedIn, then, just to dip into this sort of, we didn't capture loads of information on this, but more certainly this year than last year. And adoption within hospitality brands has more than doubled since we looked at it last year. So hugely important channel now, growing in importance. And if you look at broader stats, about 80% of the UK adults are now on LinkedIn, and that's grown 15% year on year. So certainly it is growing. And, yes, predominantly people are using this at the moment for as a way to drive sort of employer brand, etc. But all of these people are also potential consumers, I guess, customers. 51% have a LinkedIn page, 47% encourage employees to post on their personal LinkedIn profiles. Only 10% are providing guidance, best practice, which could be absolutely catastrophic, I would imagine. But if done well, there's opportunity there, Chloe.
Yeah, for sure. It's a really important channel to show what you want your company to be known for and build your team advocacy. I think we can see that teams need education on how they can show up. Big Mama Group, a standout here, really. They show company roundups, interviews, team members, people progression, milestones. You really get a feel for the people in the business. Yeah, they're worth a follow. It also positions your brand strongly if you're hiring and attracting new people.
Fabulous, thank you. We do also cover a number of questions on content development. The main thing, the big thing coming out, which again won't be a massive surprise to a lot of you, is how UGC style content is really the dominant creative approach now. When we ask people the style of content they're using on social, predominantly on social, that's what has grown year on year. Professional photography, professional videography is still has a place, of course, but that has dropped year on year. Even the percentage of brands who say they are using it, doing it, it is much more about sort of fresh, real, raw content. And you can see moving on from the sort of LinkedIn, that employee generated content is now at sort of 1 in 2 brands focusing on that as well. I assume this is a long-term trend, Chloe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's always done best for social first strategy. It's here to stay. It allows brands to create more real content. UGC will typically drive more engagement, but test it. Natalie mentioned at the event how when she was working with Obain 10 years ago, they wanted to lead with a professional only strategy, and engagement dipped by 60%. So she won that case in getting that UGC up there.
Yeah.
The Real Greek are doing UGC really well. They're using Chef Bells to talk up their recipes. Making Tzatziki has been their top performing organic post with 4.4 million views across all channels. So yeah, it's really great for the story strategy too, behind the scenes, just really telling that brand story and being authentic.
And influencer marketing too sort of taps into that. I guess 91%. Again, this is another sort of area that's growing with regard to usage. 91% of the brands we spoke to said they do some form of influencer marketing. One in two, including paid influencer work within their brand strategy now. And 28% have used influencer management or discovery platforms as well. Thoughts on that, Chloe?
Yeah, influencers are great for small teams, generate more content, brand visibility, less internal resource needed. Jolie platform are really great for finding influencers. Focus on the storytelling, the moments you want to be known for, create clear briefs that lead back to your campaign's brand moments. I think budgets are growing here more than other areas. So many brands are moving away from one-off gifting and towards more meaningful relationships.
Okay, let's take a look to the future then and what's going on here. Where are brands going to be? We've seen their maybe sort of many or some are consolidating, so to speak, where they are. And you can see that this year's data shows a clear shift again, moving away from chasing every new platform, focusing instead on depth, consistency, I guess, and stronger performance on their sort of focus channels. Nearly half of brands plan to add no new channels next year, or this year, sorry, throughout this year. No expansion plan for Facebook, X, Substack, or Reddit. TikTok and YouTube are sort of up there as the ones that people who maybe aren't on the channel already might begin to focus on. LinkedIn also 10% there. Chloe, should teams be focused on getting more from what they've got, or should we be sort of expanding? What do you think?
I think focus on existing channels and what's working there before adding anything else into the mix. These channels will shift over the next couple of years anyway. Discovery is evolving. Substack is growing, so is Reddit. I know that Lucky Saint are already exploring Reddit to build visibility in GPT. So if you do want to scope out new channels, I suggest listening in these areas to see if your brand is being mentioned before jumping in.
Nice, good advice. And the key focus areas then for the year ahead.
Yeah, cool. So this question was asked in the questionnaire when we compiled the data, what the focus areas are for you for the year ahead. So key trends include TikTok first strategies and prioritizing short form video. So TikTok is dominating as the platform that brands intend to invest in most heavily. Bespoke TikTok strategies are what brands want to do, shifting away from cross posting and more towards native storytelling, building deeper communities, authenticity, and brand led storytelling as well. A major theme to deepen community engagement, nurturing those repeat customers, creating meaningful two-way relationships. Brands want to shift from transactional content to storytelling that captures culture, people, heritage, experience. There's a lot there. Strengthening paid social, tracking data-driven decision making as well.
Good news.
Yeah, many of brands plan to invest more in paid social, so even including TikTok ads, conversion ads for sure, and localized targeting as well. There's major push to improve measurement too. Like brands are recognizing that robust attribution enables stronger business cases for budget and resource. And then we've got leveraging influencers and advocacy. Again, influencers, content creators, customer generated content, this will all play a bigger role in plans for 2026 rather than being like nice to have. Like these voices are now seen as powerful ways to build trust, reach new audiences, and show the brand in a more genuine light. And then we have resourcing up, hiring specialists, expanding teams, incorporating AI. So we do have an AI section in the report. That came up as 76% use AI in copywriting, and that was like the biggest figure there. There's definitely notable interest in AI for like content creation, customer responses, analytics, workflow, automation, etc. Capacity is being seen as not being seen really as a constraint, but more as an investment opportunity. More people and better tools mean better output and better results. And then we have navigating HFSS compliance on social. A bit of a pain, but we can make it work. They are reshaping how hospitality brands show up on social. So shift away from the indulgent product shots, more towards storytelling rooted in people, atmosphere, experience around food. Creativity isn't restricted. It just encourages brands to express who they are without relying on the most tempting menu moments. So yeah, some big opportunities there to take on board and focus for the year ahead. So yeah, thank you, Katie. That is a succinct cut down of the report, isn't it?
Yeah, there's plenty
Um,
more in there. This is a
yeah,
whistle stop tour through to whet your appetite. The as I said, the contributors will be getting a detailed report, or should already have it in their inbox from yesterday. And then we have obviously a summary report which is available for the industry, and loads of really useful, hopefully, information, insight, data in there to help you in the year ahead. We're going to move into a panel now, which Chloe is going to lead. So I will stop sharing so that hopefully you can see us. Lovely, lovely big faces on the screen there. And I'll pass over to Chloe.
cool. Thanks, Katie. Yeah, so moving on to the Q&A. Thank you, Glenda and Katie, for joining us. Yeah, I'm excited to talk through the findings of State Social with you both. Do you want to introduce yourself, Glenda, if you kick off?
Yeah, hello, I'm Glenda. I run Team Marketing, which is a gigantic WhatsApp group of hospitality marketers. It's fairly mental in there, but try and keep it together.
And Katie.
Hi, I'm Katie, sales and marketing lead at Nels. We do giant New York style pizza in and around Manchester. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. So I guess to kick us off, from Glenda, I'll go to you first. From what you've seen in the benchmarking report, what was the one insight that genuinely did surprise you?
I think there's loads in there, firstly. I think I always find it quite surprising that more brands don't take part in stuff like this so they can get access to like completely free insights that you guys are putting together. But I think I'm a big LinkedIn fan, so anything to do with that, I kind of get lost in the detail. I find it a little bit baffling that brands are like encouraging their employees to use the channel more, but then not provide them with guidelines on how that looks, how it works, what they could and couldn't, be saying that might be detrimental. I think there's a real opportunity, obviously, for employees to talk really positively about the brand. But it's probably one of those things of who's responsible for writing something like that.
Yeah.
Is it marketing? Is it HR? Is it like an employee contract thing? And no one's got the time, so it maybe never gets done. But yeah, that's probably something that stuck out for me.
I think you're right. I think resources for all of those things you said then, it will just be, I'd love to do that, but I don't.
Yeah,
It's further down the list or something. But yeah,
exactly.
I mean the employees on LinkedIn is something that would not worry me,
Yeah.
but certainly be a focus area.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We are seeing like more and more brands also like approach us for bespoke training for their employees. So like LinkedIn and stuff, and how they can present themselves. So there's so much that can be done around it.
I guess that's the basic, the absolute basic, isn't it?
And Katie, what about you? What was the one insight that did surprise you as well?
I think I was really surprised about the median number of TikTok followers for hospitality. I think you can still consider it a vanity metric, and does it really matter anymore versus views and engagement? But it was definitely a reassuring stat for us. We have seen such growth on Instagram, and I think it was perhaps naive to think that the same thing would happen with TikTok so quickly, but it is interesting to see compared to other industries and UK averages that hospitality is just struggling to get those followers through. So it's not a bad thing. And obviously moving away from it as a key metric and thinking about how you can get those conversions, views, engagements from authentic and original content.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we see it too. Like it's slow to grow, but as long as you're consistent, like you see the success in other areas, such as like the brand awareness, the people searching for your brand and touching on trends too, like that just gives your brand the personality, but while being authentic too. And Glenda, what do you think the hospitality industry could be doing more of in terms of social?
Um, Probably not going to comment on what they should be doing on the channels, but certainly they could be sharing a lot more. I think what I loved about coming to the event on Tuesday was there wasn't a single person in the room that didn't find something valuable or surprising, or they weren't going to take something back with them to change or implement. Loads of stuff came out of the panel, which was incredible. So I just love it when everyone comes together, shares ideas, how they approach things. And we see it, in team marketing all the time. It happens on the daily. People are, oh, we're doing this. Oh, great. And yeah, I think it's better for everyone. The more information we can share and gather and analyze, the more we've all got access to make improvements as a sector.
For sure. Yeah, I think share, share, share. And I think as we've seen, the more brands that take part as well in the report, the more solid the data too.
Yeah.
And Katie, so for me, it's super interesting how Facebook is moving more into a paid platform. Like, how do you go about using your paid budget? Like, is that amplifying storytelling, generally speaking?
We have completely reviewed and changed our ad strategy in the past sort of 6 months.
Okay.
It's very heavily conversion-led ads. So I guess that was something else that was really surprising, that only about half of people can report on the conversion from their ads. That's, it's such a missed opportunity. And it is also a really easy way to get more money, which is what we all really need, is bigger budgets. With our conversion ads, they sort of run as our base ads. They're always there. They're learning. We're using customer data. We're using it to funnel into other streams of our marketing strategy, like CRM and, guest invites and surprise and delight. It all kind of comes from that base. It's part of what's leading what we're doing and where we can grow. And we're still learning. We're still wanting to get more nitty-gritty data that's, site-specific conversion. And then we can really analyze it against sales performance and bums on seats in the venues, what is working, and reallocate the budget accordingly. Is one site doing better because it's more visual in town versus somewhere on the outskirts that does need more, more presence on a paid strategy? I think for us as well, the actual content of our ads is key as well. It needs to complement everything else we're doing. And a lot of our high performing content is UGC style content in ads. I think it's so easy to think, I'm going to put a load of money behind it, so it's got to be really professional. And it doesn't feel native to the ad and the platform you're putting it on. You want people to stop scrolling, you want them to click, and it's got to feel real and meaningful and who you are. That means, again, our paid ads don't work in silo to everything else that we're doing. It's just another arm of who we are and what we say and where it's been said. So I think more than ever, it's important to have that conversion tracking and make sure that it's integrated to your booking systems and to your till data, so that you know what you've spent, how you spent, and what it actually got you back.
Yeah. And just what you said on UGC too, like UGC and the paid do go hand in hand. We see it when we change content over from professional to a really more engaging scroll stopping reel, and the conversions just shoot up really nicely, and it just really cements that stat really.
Yeah, I think you can keep content really fresh with UGC as well, and it doesn't have to be a pain to create and stress about it. It's meant to be a social platform, so keep the paid ads on social fun and engaging too.
Yeah. Even I think people easily done too, overthink it. What could be a 5-second clip with just a really strong hook call to action can be enough.
Yeah, especially with restricted teams and lack of resource, you can repurpose one really great reel that performed organically, chop and change it, and add a couple more calls to action in it, and it's a paid ad.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just moving on to resource too. It was the top challenge in our benchmarking report, among a few other things. Glenda, drawing on your experience, where do you think brands should focus their efforts really to make the biggest impact with the resources they do have?
Yeah, I think Katie said it a number of times, working smarter, not harder. And I think brands probably need to invest in strategy a little more this year, especially if they haven't got the people to just constantly churn out content or the budgets even to do that. Um, so I think Ruth mentioned on Tuesday that before she joined, it was a bit of spray and pray activity going on and hoping for the best. And I think that's what she's up to this year, is being more strategic with what they say, what type of content, tone of voice, getting everything right so that they know that what is going out is quality and will deliver for the brand.
Yeah, for sure. Like one of our clients, we basically just do their whole day-to-day for them. The bits that they don't want to do, the reporting, scheduling, community management, yeah, all those like little bits, like they take a lot of time and resource, but they do come into the whole bigger picture and it alleviates the teams a bit more.
Yeah.
Katie, where does social fit overall in your marketing strategy?
Massively,
Yeah.
to put it simply.
That's good to hear.
Nels has really been built on social presence. Like even way before I joined, they were often appearing in my feed, one of the kind of names in Manchester based on the content they were making. I think it's really an easy way for us to get our personality through. We're a casual restaurant. We are quite chill and the founders are still super involved. So it's a really easy way to get that across to who we're speaking to for new customer acquisition, for brand awareness, for just general vibes. I think it's, you know, an easy way to help build brand loyalty as well by us not taking ourselves too seriously. People can resonate with us. It's often a first touch point as well before you're getting them to come to the site. Again, it's also a way to make entertaining content, and it's all part of the way of going out and enjoying yourself in hospitality now, is the enjoyment and the entertainment of it all. So it starts on social and then it happens in the venue as well.
Yeah.
I think interestingly, although social is such a huge leader of what we are doing and we're going to grow on and build and continue to build a strategy from it, we are having more and more conversations about taking things from URL to IRL. Cannot take credit for that. That's from the Selfhood. She's a great platform as well for inspiration. But making more meaningful and more purposeful content that doesn't kind of contribute to the doom scrolling and the slop that our feeds are filled with. So we did get really bogged down in making stuff that was great for the Instagram pic and people are going to share it. But that isn't what hospitality is about. Hospitality is about happy faces in the venue. And that's kind of where we're looking at for the year moving forward. Maybe not being afraid to post after the thing happened and it being a wrap up and maybe generating a bit of FOMO that way instead.
Yeah,
and I think, you know, a huge part of everything else is that using creators and tag content and community is probably the biggest way it's fitting into our marketing strategy, which isn't related to what we're posting or what our content is. It's kind of advocacy for other brands that are, you know, in hospitality in Manchester, in your industry, and you can help each other out. It is a tricky industry and it is tricky platforms to be on, and this is a way to just support one another. A bit like Glenda said, like we shouldn't work on our own, we should work together. And being present and being in the comments and the inboxes, like it is a useful tool.
Yeah. And what you said about like the in the moment thing too, like and how important that is. I think brands underestimate stories too, and like a general story strategy. So like when you've got something going on, that's a prime example of when you should be like sharing this in the moment content too.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, thanks, Katie. And then Glenda, from your perspective, what is changing behind the scenes in how hospitality marketers are actually working day to day?
I think loads is changing for them. I think there's so much pressure on the sector, and what I tend to see just through conversations in the group is when that happens, it seems to fall on marketing's shoulders to kind of, well, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to change things? How are we going to position the brand moving forward? And I feel like social can then maybe sometimes feel like just something else on the to-do list. And it is just another thing to kind of tackle. There's so many channels and, you know, resource is tight, spend is tight, and it can sound really depressing. So it's really nice to hear Katie talk about at Nels about, what they're doing this year, and they've got clear pathway, and they've learned from stuff they've done in the past. And yeah, I think again, working smarter, not harder, and working within, the confines that you've got, but being much more strategic with your activity and picking the channels that work best for you, rather than trying to be all things to all people and not necessarily reaching the right people.
Yeah, I think it's just touching what you said too, like interesting how tracking isn't necessarily at the forefront of people's mind, but with how important it is monthly, and even like we look at quarterly and just review current changes in the social industry and how that can really come together to make important decisions, sorry, and how brands can just take it to their board and communicate that.
Yep.
Katie, community management came up as one of the strongest engagement drivers, and we keep saying it, but it was such a great stat with what Ruth Carpenter had said. How do you manage community management currently? What role does conversation involve in building loyalty for Nels?
Sure, we definitely have room for improvement. I think when you're in a social role, it's easy to think you need to be online 24/7, and you do need balance for your own sanity. We kind of split it up between our sales and marketing team because very quickly you can understand the queries that you're getting. A lot of them are inquiries. Like Ruth said, there are bookings that are there that are sat waiting to convert. But on top of that, we're, part of the conversation that our guests are having. We're replying to story mentions. We're in the comment sections. We're in other people's comment sections. Sometimes the comment section of a TikTok video is more entertaining than the actual video itself.
Yeah.
And from there, you can get so many content ideas that you can run with. It's, your actual conversations that your guests are having, they're telling you what you want. So if you're not there, how are you supposed to know? We've had specials on the menu and collabs that have come off the back of someone that sent us a little DM, or it was a comment on Instagram. And, that wouldn't have happened if we weren't in those spaces. Yes, it's a great tool to keep engagement up and build new content, but it's a great loyalty tool because you're treating your digital community like they would be your in-person community. If they're in your venue, you're not going to not speak to them. So why would you do that on Instagram as well? It's especially important for us because we are quite a conversational brand, but I don't think that stops if you're a high fine dining place either. You need to speak to them and make them feel involved. It is a touch point that can make a lasting impression, and it can really make the difference between they're a brand and I spent some money there to a brand that I'm kind of friends with and I'll go again.
Yeah, a lot in the research as well. We asked, there's some open questions in there asking about sort of future, what your aims for the year ahead, what do you want to try and do, and that building the community, a personal community, that community was up there, was mentioned so much in different forms by so many, a wide range of brands, and that has to be about building a sort of individual connection, but certainly that plays a huge part, surely, in starting to build an actual community which is personal to your brand, and they're the real loyal sort of super fans as well, aren't they then?
Yeah, I think some of our top performing content for brands have been us replying to a comment and making it into a video on TikTok, and again, the audience are just starting to kind of lead, and like you said, comments is the go-to area. So I think brands need to just be in that and play that to their advantage.
Probably got time for one quick last question, Chloe.
One more, sorry. So much, just could talk to you guys all day. We'll wrap it up then. Let's go with if there is a hospitality on brand on social that you really admire right now, and why. Glenda, if you want to start.
I think there's loads. Despite all the doom and gloom, everyone's still doing amazing things. But I think it would be remiss not to come and talk about social media and mention Franco Manca's Map My Pizza Run. Literally can't scroll any social media platform at the moment without somebody dissecting it as a campaign or talking about it or sharing their actual runs. So kudos to that team. They really picked something so topical at the right moment. And yeah,
It's
perfect.
yeah, I agree. It's so good. Like I'm not a runner, but that has made me want to run and run a
Same.
pizza.
Yeah.
Um, and
I'll run for pizza,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, absolutely.
Learn what drives you. Pizza for us all.
Yeah. And Katie.
Interestingly, I think my answer is from a company based in Rhode Island. I think it's really important when you're managing socials to not end up in just your city or your industry either. They're called the Nitro Bar. They do really amazing founder-led content, and I think there's going to be such a huge shift to having your founders and like your leaders on socials as like a voice of expert and giving people something to learn. They're really interesting with how they do it. She's the founder, Audrey. She'll offer business advice whilst also trying horrible coffee orders. It is an entertaining platform and you kind of learn from it. But yeah, I think also admire so many beauty brands and fashion and music at the moment. You can't really go into social just with the hospitality as your inspiration.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Thank you, guys. We've got one quick question from the audience. I think we've just about got time. This is probably for you, Katie, maybe you, Chloe, as well. Do you find that TikTok is much less about audience growth and more about individual post success for brand reach?
Definitely. I think we have shifted fairly recently into looking at those metrics as a measure of success. Like we've just talked about, the comments on it are kind of more of a likes, comments, shares is more important than that following. It's, if you think about the way that you use TikTok, how often do you click through to follow a brand, but you'll like it, you'll save it, you'll send it to a mate and say, let's go here. I think that's far more interesting to look at and as a measure of if you're doing it right versus if you're getting followers.
Yeah, same as what Katie said. Like people are majority of people are on the For You page, and when I looked at stats for a particular brand, like we were looking at videos, and it was saying like 98% of non-followers were seeing that content. So it's really important that you're just being able to get onto the FYP page. Repetition is also something because then if you're frequently being seen, you're being recognized.
I think it's also interesting, which isn't post success or followers, is how you rank in kind of the SEO of it all on TikTok as well. If you're kind of trying to lead in we are the best X in enter city here, you can very easily search that. And if you're coming up early to that answer, you can say that's a version of success for us. If you want that to be your kind of USP, if you're not being found through that very search that your audience are trying to do, then maybe you do need to look at different types of video or different kind of keywords that will help you rank in that instead.
Thank you. That's an amazing way to end the conversation. Thank you for questions out there as well. Thank you, Glenda. Thank you, Katie. Appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's sort of whetted your appetite for the report. What's next? The State of Social Summary Report will be available as of this afternoon. We will send you all who've registered for this webinar it straight to your inbox, but obviously look out for socials, etc., for how to download that. But you'll get it all to your inbox later today. People who were involved in the study, contributors to the report, the research, will get this benchmarking data as well. And then if you want to chat, Kitch have very kindly offered a one-to-one session for anyone who's interested, just if you don't know where to start, just if you've got a particular issue, something isn't working for you, if you want to figure out how you should start measuring your data, etc., you can book in a one-to-one chat with Kitch there. So thank you to Kitch. Thanks for everyone for joining us today, and enjoy your Thursday. We hope to catch up soon.